Hey guys, it's Quickie Baby, and today Fimble80 is going to show us exactly why the 128mm gun on the Waffentrager Alpha E100 is going to be rebalanced next patch. Now currently, this tank has a 6-round autoloader with 560 alpha damage, and it takes, or at least the tooltip indicates, 60 seconds to reload this beast. Next patch, one of those shells is being removed from the autoloader, so it's only going to have 5 shells when fully loaded, but its reload time is being dropped to 52 seconds. Now, this is a definitive DPM nerf for the tank. But also, sometimes you don't need those 6 shells, but you still want to reload. So the fact that the reload time is being reduced, although the clip potential of the tank is being heavily reduced along with it, means that perhaps this tank with the 128mm is just going to perform differently. Fair enough, it's not going to have that insane clip potential that the tank had in 9.1. But maybe Waffentrager Alpha E100 drivers who do use the 128mm are going to feel more comfortable about reloading more often. Now, Fimble80 is going into a fantastic position for this tank, with absolutely no turret armor on this monstrosity. It needs to use bushes to hide itself, to allow it to get a jump on its opponents. Here we see it starting to chew up this tier 9 Chinese medium tank, who fires a clutch shot into him, hitting him in the turret where there is no armor, shaving off a good chunk of his health. However, Fimble hit him a lot harder than he hit Fimble. And if he hadn't just grazed the 3rd shell on the tank, there's a chance that tier 9 medium would have been taken out. Now he's going for this E100. So he fires 2, he has 1 remaining, but he pulls back. That's something that a lot of Waffentrager Alpha E100 and all autoloader drivers can learn from. Just because you have 1 more left in your clip, so to say, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a wise idea to try and fire it. With a gigantic turret and absolutely no turret armor, it's very likely that that E100, even if he was driving backwards and just fired on the move, so to say, would have hit Fimble and chunked off a 1/3 of his hit points. Now, this tank is definitely one of the most controversial in the game. It's only been around for a few patches. It's taken a while to get round. Well, that's actually not true. I was going to say that it's taken a while for them to get round to rebalancing it. But they've been consistently nerfing it with regards to the dispersion that the gun gets. And that's something they're doing again in 9.2. When you move the track traverse, and also on movement, the accuracy is going to be less. As you can see here, the aim time on this tank is completely negligible. But I can understand that what they want to do is stop a Waffentrager Alpha E100 from making an aggressive advance, and then instantly stopping and being very accurate. And that's only a good change. Now, this tank is also controversial, as it's far from a real tank. This was just a theory. The idea that they were going to put an anti-aircraft gun onto an E100 chassis. An E100 that never actually truly existed. And what happens when you shoot an anti-aircraft gun at tanks? Well, up to currently 3,300 damage. Next patch 2,800. Inside the space of 10 seconds from when the first shell is fired. So he sees the side of an E100 turret, but it's angled very well. Now he's aiming for the top bar on the tank and is able to penetrate it. So he's got 2 left. It's a bit of a decision right now to reload. The Waffentrager Alpha 100 will take a hell of a long time to reload those 2 shells. But Fimble's showing us that It's best not to right now. If you're in a T-57 Heavy, you'd definitely reload. If you're in a Bat Chat, you'd probably reload as well. If you've got one less in a AMX 50B Porsche 155, you might as well. But Fimble was able to turn those 2 remaining shells into a kill. Now, a lot of people talk about this tank as if it's kind of like a power creep coming into the game. And I would actually kind of agree. But do we really need a tank that is capable of so much damage in a short period of time, when the vast majority of tanks in the game do have a reload? It can have a real devastating impact on the gameplay. When I've played this tank, I think you find it very hard pressed to not do 3,000 damage in a game. Because you've got the health to be able to weather any kind of storm that the enemies can throw at you, as long as you engage them one by one. I think the time that this tank does really badly is either, obviously, if it's caught reloading, or B, if it has to engage multiple opponents at the same time. With his binoculars activated as well, Fimble has absolutely devastating view range. 420 base, fair enough, the tank is incapable of using vents. With binoculars, that's huge. So he puts the first shot into the superstructure, the second one misses slightly, third one into the superstructure, and the bounce, and the bounce, and the bounce. So 2 out of 4 penetrated there. Against the superstructure of the Jagdpanzer 100. But he did enough. He did enough. He did 1,250 damage, even though he only penned a third of a clip. And that's not a small amount of damage. That's half of the enemy tank, even if you only manage to pen a third of your shots. It's scary to think that this tank can kill a Jagdpanzer 100 if it only pens 4 out of 6 of its shots. Now, this game's looking a little tight right now. Fimble's already managed to pick up 5,000 damage. His team are down 2 tanks. And I haven't really checked out this position before. This position is quite dominant. Although I guess it kind of depends on the fact that the enemies will come round that south corner. Fimble's keeping a good eye out here. I believe he was thinking about going for this IS-7 and the 50B. Yep, he's going to clean engage on the IS-7. He looked for the 50B. The 50B wasn't there. But he had a nice side shot on the IS-7 there. Now the enemy are being very aggressive along the south flank, and this is where the Waffentrager Alpha 100 really shows its true colors. 2, 3, dead. And Fimble pulls back, having fired 2/3 of a clip at that IS-4 and more or less reducing all of his health. I think the IS-4 had taken 1 hit so far in the game before Fimble decided to rebalance him. Now, that 50B, if that 50B had come round the corner and gone this way, he would have been able to kill the Waffentrager Alpha 100. That would have required some knowledge about his reload. And the worst thing that you can do against this tank is not pressure it between its reloads. And Fimble is in a position here that does allow him to have a good amount of cover between his reloads. Here's the Su-122-54, a Tier 9 Soviet tank destroyer. 1, 2, 3. Now there's a Tier 10 tank destroyer. Just wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 3,000 damage done there in probably about 10 seconds of gameplay. Probably about 10, 12 seconds of gameplay. Just completely changed the game. There were there was one full health tier 9 tank destroyer and a tier 10 tank destroyer with, I believe, 3/4 of its health remaining. Some good marksmanship there by Fimble, combined with a tank with just purely devastating clip potential and good flexibility due to its turret. Great aim time and low delay between the shots meant that he completely changed the outcome of the game. Now Fimble sees a 50p. He puts one in, two in, and the 50p takes out his gun. His gun has been taken out. He managed to put an extra shot there into the 50B before his E50M friend came and rammed the guy to death. The IS-8, thinking that maybe he's run out of ammunition, was very wrong. And Fimble finishes him off as well. It's gonna take him 55 seconds to reload him, and he's communicating with his team using his "I'm reloading" key to be able to inform T110E4 and the IS-7 of what he's going to do. And currently, there's an E4 there on full health and an IS-7 on 2/3 health. Cornering of Waffentrager Alpha E100. The IS-7's trying to run away as quickly as he can. And Fimble's just hoping that he can get a chance to get his Radley Walters medal. So he pops out round the corner, puts one in, and puts two in, to the side of his mirror match on the enemy team. So an absolutely redonkulous game there. Fimble was able to do nearly 13,400 damage, as well as pick up 8 kills in a tier 10 game, securing a Radley Walters medal. So this is the second highest damage game that has been uploaded to the Replays website, and the highest damage game since April, falling in just behind another entry by a Waffentrager Alpha E100 as well. Now Fimble is undoubtedly an excellent player. He showed some great marksmanship here, really good judgment about when to pull back, knowing how many damage shots he could still squeeze out at his opponents without them being able to return fire. He was definitely in the right place at the right time, killed half the enemy team and defended an entire flank, fair enough progressively over the course of a 12-minute battle. The position that he was in was undoubtedly strong for the Waffentrager Alpha E100. It has a great view over the rest of the battlefield, and he's safe enough that he's not going to get rushed in between reloading. One of the key reasons why I'm showing you this replay, however, is I just want to state my opinion on the Waffentrager Alpha E100. Now, I go two ways with this. One, it's really exciting to have such exceptional tanks in the game. Half of the fun in World of Tanks is the variety. If it was just 15 T-54s going up against 15 T-54s, this game would get very boring very quickly. When you see a Waffentrager Alpha E100 on your team or the enemy team, you have to adjust your tactics accordingly. And I think that kind of variety and having that kind of special impact in the matchmaking can be really good for the game. But there are equally things like this, and I'm going to show you a quick clip, that are really bad for the game. So just to set the scene, I'm playing in my Waffentrager Alpha E100, and I have just been flanked by an E100 driver. I saw that he just fired. I know that he's got a very long reload. I can fire at him on the move. 4, 5, and I still have one left in the clip. Absolutely redonkulous. 2,700 damage there against that poor E100 driver. Now the thing is there's nothing that this gentleman could do. And Sail Maestro, I must apologize to you. And if you watch the live stream, you'll know that I said sorry to him and I actually played a game with him afterwards because I felt so bad about this. Sail Maestro made an aggressive play to try and flank some very dangerous vehicles. And there's no doubt that he could have angled his tank better, but he got absolutely punished by some game mechanics. And that is a tank that is capable currently of doing the 3,300 damage, and next patch, 2,800 damage in a clip. And let's not forget about the 150mm on this tank. Next patch, the 150mm is going to have more damage on average per clip at still 3,000. Now, while I've said that this kind of variety makes the game exciting, I also think that that sheer threat of complete destruction can also damage the game. It can encourage selfishness, passive play, and fear in your team, and sheer frustration when you get caught out like that. Now, Sailmeister will probably leave this game with maybe a 15 or even a 20,000 credit loss. Has he had fun? Was it fair for him? I don't think it was. Was it fun for me? Maybe the first few games that I played in the Waffentrager Alfie 100 and I did this, yeah. But then eventually it just feels like it's kind of unfair. You almost start to feel sorry. I guess the bottom line is that I would strongly discourage the development team from pushing towards these kind of vehicles, or at least make sure that they never get more powerful than this. I'm happy with the balance changes that are coming to the Waffentrager Alfie 100. I feel like it's going to definitely enhance the choice between the guns. It's going to take some testing to really see how this changed 128mm will compare to 150mm, but I think it's great that there will be a close choice between the guns on the tank. Anyway, let's just take a quick look at the post-game stats for Fimble80's game. So, Fimble managed to pick up a high caliber medal, unsurprisingly, and the Radley Walters medal. I just noticed that he must have been firing some premium rounds in that game, because he spent 97,000 credits on ammunition. But nevertheless, 13,400 damage is simply redonkulous. He fired 35, of which he hit 34, which is unsurprising considering his marksmanship skills, combined with the extreme accuracy of the Waffentrager Alfie 100. Fimble managed to damage 11 out of the 15 tanks on the enemy team. Didn't have to drive very far, just over 1.5 kilometers, as he did have a dominant position on top of that mound. And congratulations, Fimble, on the second highest ever damage game that I have seen on the live server. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please consider rating it down below. It really helps the channel out. And let me know in the comments what you think about the Waffentrager Alfie 100. Do you agree with my statements that it's nice to have the variety, but also maybe this thing's taking it a little bit too far? Maybe you have a more extreme opinion. Do you think this is just a horrendous beast of a tank that is an insane power creep and really it needs to be nerfed even harder than what they're doing in 9.2? What do you think because of its turret armor and its long reload time and rather unremarkable overall DPM? But there are balancing factors to it, and you can still outplay it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.